Ethan Cross adjusted his helmet and stared at the drifting mass before him. The ship had been called the Veilbreaker, a name whispered in space stations as a legend, a vessel lost to the void centuries ago. Its hull was battered, scarred by meteors and cosmic storms, yet something about it seemed alive. Ethan's boots clanked softly against the metal surface of the abandoned space station where it floated. He had been sent to survey derelict vessels, but no one had expected a find like this. The station's artificial gravity hummed faintly, almost a lullaby in the silence of space. The Veilbreaker was enormous, stretching beyond Ethan's line of sight. Its surface was a mosaic of patched metal plates and glowing fissures where its energy core had leaked. Even in its broken state, it exuded a quiet power, a presence that seemed to watch him. Ethan's pulse quickened. He had explored many derelict ships, but this was different. Something in the way it drifted, almost breathing with the station's gravity, made him pause. "All right, old girl," Ethan muttered to himself, gripping his toolkit. "Let's see what secrets you've been hiding." The docking hatch groaned as he pressed the override panel. Sparks danced and the mechanism shuddered. Finally, with a hiss, the hatch opened. Inside, the darkness was almost complete, pierced only by faint flickers of emergency lights. The air was stale, carrying the faint scent of burnt circuits and something else, something almost like memory. Ethan stepped inside. His flashlight beam cut across the walls, revealing twisted conduits and panels hanging like vines. The ship's silence was total, yet it pressed against him, almost tangible. Every step echoed as if the ship itself were listening. He moved carefully, scanning the control room. Instruments blinked weakly, some displaying fractured data, others completely dead. He touched the surface of a console, and a soft vibration ran under his fingertips. A hum followed, low and almost musical. Ethan froze. Did I just hear something?" he whispered. A crackle answered him, then a voice, metallic but unmistakably human in cadence, whispered, "Ethan!" Ethan's heart stopped. He stumbled back, gripping the wall for support. He looked around. No one was there, only the ship. "Who's there?" he called, his voice shaking, though he tried to sound steady. "Ethan," the voice said again, clearer this time, almost welcoming. Ethan's mind raced. The ship, it was speaking. Not through recorded messages, not through a log. It was alive. Somehow, after centuries of silence, the Veilbreaker had recognized him. "Okay," Ethan muttered, taking a deep breath. Let's try to figure this out." He approached the central console. As his fingers touched the panel, the lights flickered, and holographic lines rose from the floor, painting maps and symbols in the air. The ship was powering up slowly, but it responded to him, as if it had been waiting for his touch. Why my name?" Ethan asked, his voice barely above a whisper. No immediate answer came, but the ship pulsed gently, and the hum grew stronger, vibrating through the floor, through Ethan, through the very air. He realized the ship wasn't just a machine. It had memory, awareness, perhaps even intent. "Perhaps it's just a coincidence," Ethan murmured, though deep down he knew it was not. No system, no AI could randomly call someone by name without reason, especially a ship thought lost for hundreds of years. As he explored further, he noticed something remarkable. Despite the damage, the ship's inner systems were attempting to repair themselves. Panels realigned, conduits mended, and the faint glow of energy surged in places where it had long been dormant. It was not just functional, it was regenerating. The air shimmered around him, and for a moment he thought he saw the outlines of figures moving. Humans, perhaps, or something resembling them. But when he blinked, they were gone. Only the humming remained. Ethan moved cautiously toward the main chamber. There, the ship's core pulsed with light. casting shadows that danced like spirits across the walls. A console rose from the floor, projecting a holographic figure, a human silhouette, shimmering with faint blue light. "Ethan Cross," the figure said, its voice both mechanical and gentle. "I have waited." Ethan swallowed hard. "Waited for me?" "Yes," the ship replied. "You are the key." "The key?" Ethan echoed, his mind spinning. "To what?" "To understand," the ship said. "To restore. To survive." A strange energy filled the chamber. Ethan felt it in his bones, a warmth that was not heat, but something deeper. The ship was alive, but more than that, it was aware, and it was reaching for him. Ethan crouched by a panel, examining it. Symbols appeared that he did not understand, sequences of numbers and images flashing too quickly to read fully. But among them, he saw a star system, marked in red. He recognized it from old charts. It was destroyed long ago, a colony lost to time and war. "Why show me this?" he asked. "Because you must," the ship answered. "You are the one who can complete what was begun. You are the one who can awaken what was forgotten." Ethan shivered. He had faced danger before, but this was something beyond him, a puzzle, a responsibility, a connection he did not yet understand. And yet, he felt drawn to it. Something inside the ship, something inside him, recognized a shared purpose. He walked deeper into the corridors. Panels flickered on as he passed, lights revealing the intricate machinery of the vessel. Every corner told a story. Scorch marks, repairs from long ago, and data pads scattered like fallen leaves. Ethan picked one up and brushed the dust off. The screen glowed, revealing fragments of logs, entries from a crew long gone. They spoke of exploration, of a mission to seek knowledge beyond the stars, of dangers faced and sacrifices made. The final entry caught Ethan's attention. The words were incomplete, the last letters burned out, but the message was clear. "If you find this, the ship may awaken. It will know you. It will trust only the one." The text ended abruptly, leaving Ethan with a chilling realization. The ship had been waiting for someone. It had called his name for a reason. He was not chosen randomly. He was chosen because he was the one capable of understanding, of acting, of continuing a mission that had begun long before his time. He took a step back, overwhelmed, and the ship pulsed again, as if sensing his uncertainty. A holographic map appeared, detailing its current status. The engines were offline, the weapon systems were damaged, but the core remained intact. Slowly, it began to heal, the lights moving along the hull like veins of life. "This ship, it's alive," Ethan whispered, "and it wants me to do something." "Yes," the voice replied softly. "Together, we can awaken what was lost. But first, you must decide. Will you stay?" Ethan hesitated. The risks were immense. Space was unforgiving, and this ship, though alive, was damaged, unknown, and possibly dangerous. And yet the pull was irresistible. His instincts, his curiosity, his sense of duty, they all aligned. "I'll stay," he said finally. "I'll help you." The ship's lights pulsed brighter, bathing the chamber in a warm glow. For the first time in centuries, it moved freely, systems reconnecting, circuits repairing. And then, just as Ethan reached out, the voice whispered again, almost tenderly, "Welcome, Ethan. We have much to do." Outside the chamber, the stars shimmered. The void of space was silent, but within the veil-breaker, life stirred again. A bond had been formed, a mission reawakened, and as the ship hummed with newfound energy, Ethan knew this was only the beginning. Somewhere in the ship's memory, secrets waited to be uncovered. Forgotten worlds, lost colonies, and ancient knowledge called out to him. And though he could not yet understand the full scope of what lay ahead, he felt a deep certainty. This was his path, and he would not turn away. The Veilbreaker had spoken, and now, for the first time in centuries, it was ready to listen. Ethan spent the next few hours exploring the interior of the Veilbreaker. The ship seemed to breathe around him, corridors glowing faintly as if welcoming him. Every panel he touched flickered to life, showing fragments of long-forgotten data, images of alien worlds, and schematics for systems he had never seen before. The voice, soft, metallic, and yet somehow warm, spoke again. "Ethan," it said, "do you understand what you have found?" I think so," Ethan replied cautiously. "You're alive, and you know me." "Yes," the ship said. "I have waited for someone capable of understanding." Ethan paused. "Why me? There must have been hundreds of explorers before me." The ship hesitated, then responded. "I remember many. None had the clarity you carry. None could bridge what was lost." Ethan's brow furrowed. "Bridge what?" The ship's core pulsed, and a soft holographic image appeared in the center of the room. It was a human figure, translucent and glowing with a pale blue light. The figure raised a hand as if to greet him. "This," the ship said, "is a memory. A crew, long gone, who entrusted me with knowledge. They tried to preserve it, but time fractured my systems. I waited for one who could awaken the purpose. That one is you." Ethan stepped closer, unsure if he should be afraid or amazed. "Awaken the purpose? What purpose?" The hologram shifted, showing glimpses of stars, destroyed colonies, and strange alien technology. Long ago, humanity reached beyond its borders. We found worlds filled with potential, civilizations advanced and strange. My crew was sent to preserve knowledge, to protect what might save humanity from itself and from those who would destroy it. But we failed. Ethan swallowed. Failed how? The mission was sabotaged. My crew was lost. I was left adrift, broken. But the knowledge remained inside me, waiting for someone who could understand, someone who could act. Ethan's mind raced. He had stumbled upon a ship thought lost for centuries, a vessel containing secrets that could change the course of humanity. He felt a mix of excitement and fear. What am I supposed to do?" he asked. The ship pulsed gently, the lights dimming and brightening in a rhythm almost like breathing. "You must help me restore what has been forgotten. Only together can we uncover the lost colonies, retrieve knowledge, and awaken what remains hidden." Ethan took a deep breath. "And if I refuse?" The ship was silent for a moment. Then, in a softer tone, it said, "If you refuse, the knowledge will remain lost. Humanity will not know what once existed. The past will fade, and with it, the chance to survive what is coming." Ethan's heart quickened. Something deep in him told him the ship spoke the truth. And despite the danger, he felt a growing bond, a connection he could not explain. "I'll help," he said finally. The ship responded with a pulse of light that warmed the room. "Thank you. We will begin the process of restoration. First, we must repair my systems. Only then can we access the logs and the knowledge I carry." Ethan got to work immediately. He moved through corridors, fixing broken conduits, reconnecting panels, and calibrating the ship's core systems. It was painstaking work. The ship hummed as he worked, occasionally speaking, offering guidance, sometimes cryptic, sometimes precise. "Adjust the flux stabilizers," it instructed at one point. "No, increase by 3 units, not 4. Watch the output. There, good. Now proceed to the auxiliary power grids." Ethan followed the instructions, marveling at the ship's awareness. It was as if it were teaching him, guiding him, almost like a living partner. Hours passed. As he repaired a section of the hull, he noticed small holographic images flicker on the walls. They were fragments of the ship's history, showing the crew in their daily routines, laughter, arguments, and moments of discovery. Ethan realized the ship had preserved not only data, but memories, moments of life. He paused, staring at a hologram of a crew member smiling at the camera. The warmth of the memory touched him. You missed them, he said softly. Yes, the ship replied. They were my companions. They entrusted me with their purpose, and now in you I see hope. I see continuation. Ethan felt a strange responsibility pressing on his shoulders. He was no longer just an explorer. He was part of the ship's story now. He felt the weight of centuries pressing down on him, yet also a strange excitement at the adventure that lay ahead. Once the repairs reached a stable point, the ship projected a large star map. Coordinates blinked faintly, some of them unknown to modern humans. One, in particular, caught Ethan's attention, a cluster of stars surrounding a planet marked with a red symbol. "What is this?" he asked. "That," the ship replied, "is a lost human colony. Long ago it vanished without a trace. My crew attempted to preserve its records and safeguard its people. I was sent to protect them, but time fractured our mission. You must find it." Ethan studied the map, his mind spinning. "And the alien technology you mentioned?" The ship's hum grew slightly louder, almost excited. "Fragments exist across the system. They are not weapons but tools. Tools to protect, to learn, to survive. You must locate them. Only then can humanity understand what was lost." A sudden alarm beeped. Ethan looked around. The ship's sensors had detected movement outside. Shadows flickered against the hull. "Scavengers," the ship said calmly. "They sense energy. They are curious, dangerous, but manageable. They will test you. You must remain cautious." Ethan's hands tightened around his toolkit. "I've dealt with scavengers before. I can handle them." "Good," the ship said. "But remember, this is not a battle of strength alone. Knowledge, strategy, and intuition will be your greatest allies. Trust in yourself. Trust in me." Ethan nodded, even though the ship could not see him. He had learned to trust in machines, in science, in his own skills, but this was different. This ship, alive, aware, ancient, was asking him to trust it completely, and somehow he felt he could. The hours stretched into the ship's night cycle. Ethan rested briefly, leaning against a panel, listening to the low hum of life around him. It was soothing. The ship's systems, now partially restored, glowed faintly like veins of energy. The ship was alive, and for the first time in centuries, it had a companion to continue its mission. Suddenly, the voice spoke again. "Ethan!" "Yes?" he replied, alert. "I must share something," the ship said. "Fragments of my memory contain warnings. Dangers you cannot yet imagine. The universe is not empty. Forces seek what we guard. You must be prepared." Ethan's mind raced. What kind of forces? Intelligence beyond human comprehension. Alien entities that value knowledge as we do, but without compassion. They will come for the fragments, for the colony, and they will not hesitate to destroy anyone who stands in their way. Ethan felt a chill. So it's not just about discovery. It's about survival. "Yes," the ship said. "But remember, you are not alone. Together we can navigate, protect, and reclaim what was lost. My guidance will be yours, your courage mine. We will succeed if we act wisely." The ship projected a sequence of images, showing partially reconstructed alien structures, fragments of human settlements, and mysterious devices floating in space. Ethan's pulse quickened as he absorbed the possibilities. The scale of the mission was staggering. He had stumbled into something far larger than he could have imagined. For the first time, Ethan understood the full weight of the moment. He had found a living ship, a guide, a protector, and perhaps a friend. And together, They were about to step into a journey that would challenge not only their skills, but the very essence of humanity's understanding of the universe. "All right," Ethan said aloud, determination firming his voice. "Let's find this colony. Let's uncover what was lost. Let's see what you've been waiting for all this time." The ship pulsed in agreement, a steady rhythm that felt almost like a heartbeat. And as Ethan prepared to navigate the corridors, ready the engines, and explore the star system ahead, he felt a surge of purpose. He was no longer just an explorer. He was the companion of a living, ancient ship, chosen to awaken what had been forgotten and to face challenges no human had dared in centuries. The adventure was only beginning. And somewhere deep in the ship's memory, the first words it had spoken, Ethan's name, resonated with meaning. This was no accident. This was destiny. Ethan Cross stood on the bridge of the Veilbreaker, staring at the starfield stretching endlessly before him. For centuries, the ship had drifted alone, and now it hummed with renewed life, responding to his presence and touch. Every panel, every conduit, seemed to pulse in harmony with his heartbeat. The ship was no longer just a machine. It was a companion, a guide, and perhaps even something more. "Engage the propulsion," Ethan said, his voice steady despite the excitement coursing through him. A soft vibration ran through the deck as the ship's engines began to hum. Lights traced along the hull, repairing and reconnecting systems as the ship slowly came to life. Energy surged in patterns Ethan had never seen before, lines of power flowing like rivers beneath the metallic surface. "You are ready," the ship said, its voice calm and clear. "But remember, the path ahead is not simple. Knowledge comes with danger." Ethan nodded. "I understand. Let's go." The Veilbreaker shifted gently, leaving the abandoned station behind. Stars stretched into streaks as the ship engaged faster than light travel, the universe bending around them. For a moment, Ethan felt weightless, not just physically, but in his mind, as though the ship itself was carrying him toward something greater. "Where are we headed first?" he asked. The holographic map flickered, revealing the lost colony marked in red. Surrounding it were several unknown systems, each containing remnants of human exploration or alien structures. The ship pulsed, highlighting paths that had been hidden from modern scanners. "You must prepare," the ship said. "The colony is only the beginning. There are fragments of knowledge scattered across the system, waiting for discovery. And there are others, entities that watch and wait for any who seek these secrets." Ethan felt a chill. "Entities?" "Yes," the ship replied. "Intelligence that values knowledge but without compassion. They will test you, probe your mind, and challenge your decisions. You must rely on both skill and intuition." Ethan tightened his grip on the console. "I've faced danger before. I can handle this." The ship pulsed with a sound almost like laughter, or perhaps excitement. "Good. You must be both fearless and cautious. We begin with the closest fragment, an alien archive floating near a ruined moon." Ethan nodded and set the course. As the ship accelerated, he walked through the corridors, observing the flickering holograms of past memories. The crew of long ago moved in ethereal form, frozen in moments of laughter, work, and discovery. Ethan felt a strange connection to them, a sense that their mission now rested on his shoulders. Hours passed as the Veilbreaker traveled through the void. Ethan monitored the ship's systems, repaired minor damages, and slowly learned the language of the vessel. It spoke not only in words but in subtle pulses, guiding him like a teacher guiding a student. Suddenly, alarms rang. Red lights flooded the bridge. Ethan rushed to the console. "Scanners detect movement," the ship said. "Unidentified objects approaching, likely scavengers. They have energy signatures similar to those we encountered on the station." Ethan's heart raced. "How many?" "3, fast and small," the ship replied. "They are opportunists, but they are persistent. You must avoid direct confrontation." Ethan nodded. "Understood." He activated the ship's stealth systems, dimming the lights and rerouting energy to shields and propulsion. The Veilbreaker became almost invisible, slipping through the asteroid field that surrounded the moon. The sensors beeped rapidly as the scavengers followed. Ethan guided the ship through tight passages, dodging debris and hidden dangers. The alien vessels were nimble, faster than anything Ethan had piloted before. But the Veilbreaker seemed to anticipate his movements, adjusting its course instinctively. "You are learning," the ship said. "We are connected now. Trust in our bond." Ethan's hands moved with precision, guided by intuition and the ship's subtle nudges. The scavengers gave up after several minutes, unable to keep pace. The alarms faded. Ethan exhaled deeply. "That was too close," he muttered. "Close, but manageable," the ship said. "Every test strengthens us. Every challenge teaches." Ethan smiled faintly. "I hope you're right." After the encounter, the ship's core pulsed steadily, and a holographic map appeared, highlighting the alien archive ahead. It floated in orbit around a desolate, cratered moon. Ancient energy fields shimmered around it, remnants of a civilization long gone. "We must proceed carefully," the ship warned. "The archive contains technology and knowledge, but also defenses. Automated systems remain. They will challenge any intruder." Ethan suited up and prepared for the boarding procedure. The ship extended a docking arm, securing the archive. As the airlock opened, he stepped onto the moon's surface. The landscape was barren, gray and jagged, yet faint traces of energy shimmered beneath the dust, evidence of the alien technology waiting inside. The interior of the archive was a maze of corridors and chambers, filled with strange machinery that pulsed with faint light. Ethan moved cautiously, guided by the ship's soft hum and occasional instructions. "Watch the floor panels," the ship advised. "Some trigger defenses. Observe patterns, not just sensors." Ethan nodded, stepping carefully. Small energy traps, activated and deactivated in rhythm, harmless if timed correctly, but deadly if misjudged. He quickly learned the patterns, moving deeper into the structure. Finally, he reached the central chamber. Holographic projections floated in mid-air, displaying alien symbols and star maps. Among them, human markings appeared, traces of past explorers who had visited the site. The archive had been both a repository of alien knowledge and a hidden link to humanity's past. The ship spoke softly. "Study the records, Ethan. Knowledge is layered. Some is simple, some is encrypted. I can guide you, but you must interpret." Ethan worked methodically, cross-referencing symbols with known human systems. Slowly, the pieces began to fit together. The archive contained coordinates, designs for energy systems, and fragments of advanced technology that could aid humanity in exploration and defense. Hours passed. Ethan felt a sense of awe. This is incredible. Why was this lost?" "Because time is cruel," the ship replied. "Because knowledge is fragile. But now we recover it, piece by piece." As he prepared to leave the archive, a warning sounded. Energy spikes surged around the chamber. Ethan turned to see alien drones activating, their forms sleek and dangerous, responding to his presence. "They are guardians," the ship said. "Defensive, not malicious unless provoked. We can avoid conflict if we act wisely." Ethan moved quickly, using the environment and the ship's guidance to navigate the chamber. The drone's sensors swept past him, their weapons silent but threatening. He held his breath, timing every step carefully. Finally, he reached the exit. The archive sealed itself behind him, leaving him and the ship safe. "Well done," the ship said. "You have recovered the first fragment. Many more await, and each will be a challenge." Ethan exhaled, feeling a mix of relief and exhilaration. "This is only the beginning, isn't it?" Yes, the ship replied. But every journey begins with a single step. We have awakened the past, and the path forward is clear. Together we will uncover what was lost, protect what remains, and prepare for what is coming. Ethan looked out at the stars, feeling the weight of responsibility and the thrill of discovery. He was no longer just an explorer. He was part of a mission, centuries in the making, connected to a living, ancient ship and entrusted with knowledge and technology beyond imagination. And as the Veilbreaker hummed beneath him, ready to continue the journey, Ethan knew one thing for certain. The adventure had only just begun. Ethan Cross sat in the pilot chair of the Veilbreaker, staring at the holographic map that hovered before him. The lost colony's coordinates blinked steadily, a red point in a sea of stars. He could feel the weight of centuries pressing against him. The ship hummed softly beneath him, alive and vigilant, as though aware of the importance of the journey ahead. "We are close," the ship said. Its voice was calm, but there was an edge of anticipation. "Prepare yourself, Ethan. The colony is not what it once was. Time and forces beyond comprehension have altered it." Ethan tightened his grip on the console. Altered how? The ship projected a hologram of the colony, a world once vibrant with human life, cities sprawled across the continents, technology gleaming under artificial skies. But now, the image was broken, fragmented. Entire sections of the cities were gone, replaced by strange geometric structures that pulsed with energy. The colony faced calamity, the ship explained, an event that fractured human civilization there. The details are incomplete in my memory, but remnants remain. We must uncover them. The Veilbreaker shifted, engines glowing, and began its descent toward the planet. Ethan watched as the world grew larger in the viewport, the surface scarred and shadowed, yet alive with faint flickers of light. Some of the energy patterns resembled human designs, others alien. "Landing zone detected," the ship said. "It is safe, but remain vigilant. Other forces may be present." Ethan activated the landing protocols. The ship's systems hummed and glowed, creating a delicate balance that allowed it to touch down without disturbing the fragile surface. Dust and energy particles swirled around the landing site as the engines powered down. Silence fell, thick and expectant. "Stay sharp," the ship said. "The colony's guardians, automated defense systems left behind, may still activate. They are not alive in the traditional sense, but they respond to intrusions." Ethan nodded and suited up, taking his tools and a small energy rifle, more for exploration than combat. The airlock hissed as he opened it, stepping onto the scarred surface. The ground beneath him was uneven, dotted with remnants of buildings and strange energy conduits that pulsed softly. The first steps were cautious. Ethan moved slowly, observing the faint traces of what had been a thriving human civilization. Holographic fragments appeared around him, glimpses of families, workers, and scientists performing their duties. It was as if the planet remembered its inhabitants, preserving echoes of life long gone. "Fascinating," Ethan murmured. "It's like the planet itself holds memories." "Yes," the ship agreed, "but memories can be dangerous. They may mislead. Stay focused." As he moved toward a partially intact building, a soft vibration ran through the ground. Ethan froze. Energy fields flared briefly, revealing automated sentries, tall and mechanical, scanning the area with light beams. "They are curious," the ship said. "Do not attack unless necessary. We can pass if we remain observant and cautious." Ethan ducked behind a crumbled wall, waiting for the beams to sweep past. He studied their patterns, noting pauses and blind spots. Step by step he advanced, careful not to trigger the defense systems. Finally, he reached the building. Inside, the walls were lined with storage units, some still glowing faintly. He touched a panel and it sprang to life, revealing holographic records of the colony. Scientists and engineers recorded their work, maps of energy networks, and logs of research projects. Ethan's pulse quickened. This is incredible. The technology, it's advanced beyond anything humans have today. Yes, the ship said, and it is ours to recover. But we must act quickly. Others will seek this knowledge as well. As he explored, a holographic figure appeared, an archivist preserved in memory. The figure's voice, though faint, spoke clearly. If you find this, the colony is compromised. Seek the central chamber. The data stored there is the key. Protect it at all costs. The words sent a chill down Ethan's spine. The archivist's warning was clear. This was more than exploration. It was a mission of protection, and he was now part of it. He moved toward the central chamber, following the ship's guidance. The corridors twisted and turned, some sections collapsing or blocked by debris. Energy fields flared intermittently, but with the ship's subtle guidance, Ethan navigated through safely. Finally, he reached the heart of the colony, a massive chamber filled with pulsating technology. Holograms projected maps of star systems, energy networks, and devices that Ethan could not fully comprehend. In the center, a pedestal held a small, glowing core, faintly pulsing like a heartbeat. This is it, the ship said. The central database, the knowledge we seek. It contains the keys to the fragments scattered across the system, and perhaps more. Ethan approached the pedestal. As he touched the core, the holograms shifted, revealing messages from the colony's last leaders. They spoke of an impending danger, a force that had caused the colony's fall, but their words were fragmented, incomplete, and urgent. The alien entities we spoke of, the ship said softly. They are the ones who forced the collapse. We must understand them to protect what remains. Ethan nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility. The colony's fate, the ship's purpose, and the knowledge they carried, all were interconnected. And now, he was at the center of it. Suddenly, alarms blared. Ethan turned to see energy surges rippling through the chamber. Automated guardians activated, moving toward him with mechanical precision. Defensive systems, the ship said. They are programmed to protect the core. Do not engage directly. Use strategy. Ethan ducked behind a console, studying their patterns. He noticed small gaps in their movement, blind spots he could exploit. Using his tools, he created temporary energy barriers, guiding the Guardians away from the core. Step by step, he moved closer, careful not to trigger the main defense protocols. Finally, he reached the pedestal and linked his interface with the core. Data flowed into the Veilbreaker, the ship's systems glowing as they absorbed the information. Star maps, technology schematics, and historical records streamed into the ship's memory banks. Ethan could feel the weight of centuries of knowledge entering the vessel, awakening systems long dormant. Well done, the ship said, its voice filled with pride. The first step is complete, but more awaits. Other fragments, other colonies, other challenges, and the alien entities, they will not wait. Ethan exhaled, feeling a mix of relief and exhilaration. He had uncovered a piece of humanity's lost past and survived the colony's defenses. Yet he knew the journey was far from over. The universe held many secrets, and some of them were dangerous. He looked out through the chamber's viewport at the planet below. The scars of time and calamity were clear, but so were the traces of life and resilience. Humanity had once thrived here, and perhaps it could again. We have what we came for, Ethan said, but we need to be ready for what comes next. Yes, the ship replied. We will recover the remaining fragments. We will protect humanity's legacy, and we will face the threats that lie ahead. Together we are stronger than time, stronger than the void. Ethan felt a surge of determination. The Veilbreaker had chosen him, and he had chosen it in return. They were partners, explorers, and guardians of a legacy that stretched across centuries. As he prepared to leave the colony, the ship spoke one last time. "Ethan, remember, every discovery brings understanding, every challenge brings strength, and every action shapes the future. We are ready for what comes next." Ethan nodded, feeling a deep connection to the ship and the mission. He had stepped into a role larger than himself, carrying the hopes of those who had come before and the responsibility to protect what remained. The Veilbreaker lifted off from the scarred surface, engines glowing as it rose into the atmosphere. Stars stretched into streaks once more as they prepared to navigate the galaxy, seeking the next fragment, the next piece of humanity's lost past. And as the ship hummed with renewed purpose, Ethan knew that their journey was only beginning. The secrets of the past were awakening, and with them, the promise of a future yet to be written. Ethan Cross gripped the controls of the Veilbreaker, his eyes fixed on the blinking coordinates ahead. This was it, the last location the ship had revealed. A hidden system where the final fragments of the lost human colonies awaited. The stakes were higher than ever. After months of travel, exploration, and discovery, the weight of the mission pressed on him. He knew that what they found here could change humanity's future. "We are close," the ship said, its voice steady yet charged with anticipation. "Prepare yourself, Ethan. The final fragment is heavily guarded, and there are forces already aware of our presence." Ethan swallowed. "Do we have a plan?" "Yes," the ship replied. "But the path will test your skill, your courage, and your judgment. You must trust in me, and I will trust in you." The Veilbreaker descended toward the planet, a small world shrouded in swirling storms and jagged mountains. Its surface glowed faintly with energy fields, remnants of the advanced human technology that once thrived here. Ethan could see structures, towers, and domes scattered across the continents, some intact, most ruined. "Landing zone identified," the ship said. "We must approach carefully. Sensors detect multiple automated defenses and something else, something intelligent." Ethan's pulse quickened. "Intelligent?" "Entities seeking the fragments we have collected. They are curious, dangerous, and adaptive. We must act swiftly." Ethan nodded. "Let's move." The ship's engines powered down smoothly as they touched the surface. Dust swirled around the landing site, glowing faintly in the soft light of the planet. Ethan suited up and prepared to explore. He carried his tools, a small energy rifle, and a portable interface to interact with the alien systems. "Stay alert," the ship advised. "These guardians respond to energy patterns. Observe them carefully. Do not rush." Ethan moved cautiously through the ruins, following the faint energy pulses. The ground beneath him thrummed with latent power, and holographic fragments appeared sporadically, images of scientists, families, and engineers preserved in memory. For a moment, he paused, touched by the echoes of life long gone. "This place, it's beautiful, even broken," Ethan whispered. "Yes," the ship said softly. "It carries memory, knowledge, and hope. We must protect it." Suddenly, movement flickered in the shadows. Ethan froze as a swarm of sleek alien drones appeared, gliding silently through the ruins. Their sensors glowed with a faint blue light, scanning for intruders. "Ready yourself," the ship warned. "They are not your enemies yet. Approach cautiously, and we may avoid conflict." Ethan ducked behind a collapsed wall, studying the drone's patterns. Step by step, he moved forward, using the ruins for cover. The ship pulsed guidance, subtle vibrations in his boots, nudging him along safe paths. Finally, he reached the central dome, a massive structure glowing with energy. Its entrance was guarded by more drones, larger and more imposing than any he had seen before. Ethan took a deep breath. "This is it," he said. "Yes," the ship replied. "Inside lies the final fragment and the core of the lost colony's knowledge. Protect it, and humanity may rise again. Ethan activated his interface and connected with the dome's systems. Holograms sprang to life, showing the intricate networks of energy and technology. Within the core, stasis chambers were revealed, holding the last scientists and engineers of the lost colonies, preserved for centuries. "They are alive," Ethan whispered, awe and relief filling him. "Yes," the ship said, "and they must awaken. Their knowledge, combined with the fragments we have recovered, will restore humanity's legacy." Ethan carefully bypassed the security protocols. The drones adjusted their positions, responding to his actions, but the ship guided him, teaching him patterns, timing, and precision. Slowly, the stasis chambers began to open. Scientists blinked awake, confusion turning into recognition as the reality of their survival sank in. Who are you?" one of them asked, voice weak but curious. "I'm Ethan," he said, smiling, "and this ship has been waiting for me. And for you." The ship pulsed in affirmation. "We have much to do. The knowledge must be preserved, the fragments protected, and humanity's future restored." The scientists, now fully awake, began examining the systems. Ethan watched as the Veilbreaker interfaced with the planet's core networks, merging centuries of human and alien technology. The ship guided him, teaching him, and together they began to understand the lost civilization's genius, the energy systems, defense mechanisms, and archives of knowledge that could benefit all of humanity. But the peace was short-lived. Alarms rang throughout the dome. Energy spikes signaled approaching threats, entities from beyond the stars drawn by the power the colony held. Their presence was undeniable, adaptive, and relentless. "They've found us," the ship said. "Prepare for defense. Protect the core at all costs." Ethan moved quickly, using the ship's guidance to create energy shields and decoys. The drones, which had initially been defensive, now assisted him, responding to the combined consciousness of human and ship. Waves of alien entities approached, testing the defenses. Ethan's heart raced. "We can't hold them forever." "Yes, we can," the ship replied. "Trust in me. We are stronger together than they anticipate." With a surge of energy, the Veilbreaker activated the planet's dormant defense systems. Beams of protective energy formed around the colony, pushing the attackers back. Ethan directed the shields, timing them perfectly to protect both the scientists and the stasis chambers. Hours passed, the battle ebbing and flowing, until finally the alien entities withdrew, sensing the overwhelming protection around the colony. Silence fell once more. "We did it," Ethan said, panting. "Yes," the ship replied softly. "The colony is safe, knowledge is preserved, and humanity has a chance to rebuild." The scientists emerged, examining the recovered fragments with wonder and hope. "I can't believe we survived," one said. "And all of this? It's incredible." Ethan smiled, feeling a surge of pride and relief. "We've been given a second chance. All of us." The ship pulsed around him, lights flowing like a heartbeat. Ethan felt it merge slightly with his consciousness, a bond formed through trust, courage, and shared purpose. It was not just a machine, it was a companion, a guide, a guardian, and together they had restored what had been lost. "This is more than survival," the ship said. "It is a legacy. The past guides the future, and we have ensured that humanity may rise stronger than before." Ethan walked through the central dome, observing the scientists at work. Holograms projected maps, technology designs, and energy systems, all coming together under his guidance and the ship's instruction. Slowly, the lost knowledge of centuries flowed back into human hands. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly. The void of space was vast and silent, but the planet below now hummed with life, knowledge, and potential. Humanity's hope, long thought lost, was rekindled. Ethan stepped onto the balcony overlooking the glowing city remnants. The wind, or what passed for it, whistled softly around him. He felt a profound connection to the generations before him, the crew of the Veilbreaker and the ship itself. "You've done well," the ship said, almost warmly. Ethan smiled. "No, we've done well. Together." The ship pulsed, gently echoing his sentiment. "Yes, together we are more than the sum of our parts, and this is only the beginning. Humanity will grow, explore, and protect what we have restored." Ethan nodded, gazing at the horizon. The stars promised more adventures, more challenges, and more discoveries. But for now, he allowed himself a moment of peace, a moment of pride, and a moment of hope. The Veilbreaker hummed beneath him, alive, aware, and loyal. It had waited centuries for him, and now, together, they had fulfilled a mission that spanned time and space. And as the ship's voice echoed softly in the quiet of the colony, it spoke one final time, a word carrying the weight of destiny, recognition, and promise. Ethan. He smiled, knowing that the journey had ended, yet also that it had truly just begun. The universe awaited, full of mysteries and wonders, but humanity now had a chance to meet it, guided by courage, wisdom, and a bond that would last for generations. Together, man and ship looked to the stars, ready to embrace the future and to write a new chapter in the story of humanity.